Welcome back to Maniacal Music Musings. I'm your host, Jeremy, as always, and I'm here looking for my own salvation. I know it's impossible. I've been there and back again while on the quest for the Master's Apprentice but they're hard to find sometimes. So I decided to start my Wintersaga, learn the art of war from warriors, and perfecting the headshot because I need to know that soon. My co-host, though, he travels like Godspeed in his diggy diggy hole with a wreath around his neck. He'll tell you we were warriors, seeking a fair judgment, but by the pain I see in others, when we walk in the room, that is, I think the king under the mountain is our only reprieve. Good thing we hang out with drunken dwarfs. Chancy, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi.
And that's
Howdy.
right, folks. We are back once again with one of our not so drunken dwarfs that we love to have on. In his third appearance, we decided to bring back the music god himself, CJ motherfucking Plane.
I'm not a drawer fucker. I'm a berserker. I'm I'm much too fucking big to be a dwarf.
You got the hair for it. That's what I was going with.
I was gonna say I've never seen a 6 foot 255 pound dwarf. So, uh, you know,
uh, they stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened. But folks, we are back once again to discuss these albums three and to bring you some amusement. And when Mr. Plain messaged me saying he has an album he's dying for us to hear, of course, being the music guy himself, I had to bring him back on to hear what he had to bring. So tell us, music god, what album do you bestow upon us this time?
I have brought you the brand new record by what is my second favorite Japanese metal band. Um, Second only behind Maximum the Hormone because, if you're an anime fan, you know who Maximum the Hormone is. But it's a band called Crossfaith, and they have a brand new record called Arc that is extremely over the top and really just a great freaking record for it's a great workout record, great record if you want to break shit, great record if you really need to get hyped up and punch something or someone or all that kind of junk. So yeah, um, it's like I think it's their fifth record, depending on if you include the EPs and all of that. But amazing band that very good at mixing metal and EDM style music. So very high energy to put it
Yeah.
bluntly.
Actually, I kind of want to go first in this one, Chancey. I'm kind of dying to get my claws into this one. Well, not in a bad way, but because I mean, when I heard when I was sampling the tracks, like to try to figure out what I wanted to bring, I was like, "What the fuck is this? It's all different genres." And then like when I listened to it today all the way through for the first time, I was like, "Huh." I'm like, I can actually dig this. This reminds me of a lot of bands I really listen to, American bands mainly, but that like to jump around genres in their songs. And I'm like, I could dig it. I'm like, there were songs I like, there's songs I don't like, but I mean,
Yeah.
overall, it was actually a unique, great experience with some good guests on it. So I mean, the guests are kind of what really sold for me because I saw a couple of names on there right away. And I was like, oh, oh, I can dig that. I can dig that being part of this, and it just overall, I was pretty happy with it. I mean, it. I didn't know what to expect. I told Chancey like I originally thought you were gonna bring like a rap album, so I freaking was like I was going through hardcore ideas in my head, and when I listened to the album for the first time, I was like, wait a minute, no, this is not what I previously thought it was gonna be. I was expecting like a because the few samples I heard, it almost sounded like at first like a Ice Nine Kills type vibe or Motionless in
Yeah.
White even.
little
So
bit.
I was like, I all right, not what it wasn't what I expected, but I freaking actually enjoyed it to some degree. I there's a few of them that got added to the like list on Spotify, so it's
They're
definitely
actually a band. Um, it was the Jägermeister tour, I think it was about. I think it was 2017, 2018. Their second record, they were um they were part of the tour, and we went to the tour, and they were just unbelievably unreal. Like the energy when they played, and I jumped in the mosh pit for the first time in I don't know how many years, and by the time they finished, I was so exhausted I couldn't drive home. Like we went to leave, and we had to stop at a Denny's and take a nap in the parking lot because they just they drained every bit of energy I have, like jumping around in the mosh pit and shit. I mean, they were just fucking unbelievable live. Um, I hadn't seen a show like that since I saw Fishbone, basically. Um, I mean, they were just all over the place. People were just everywhere, and it was hard to believe like this Japanese band was just, you know, absolutely crushing it like that. And they've gotten better and better and better with every record and sort of branched out a little bit, including different musical elements. And, um, you know, I mean, they're just such a fun band to watch at the same time. You know, they're the way they mix shit together. So, um, yeah, and it's the same reason
well.
I love Maximum No Hormone, essentially, is because you never really know what you're going to hear next with them, whether it's going to be, you know, like a reggae bass or a metal or an EDM or a fucking jazz or whatever. They're just going to kind of throw it all in there like a big ass fucking rave almost kind of like, you know. Um,
I mean, yeah, it's in. I mean, Twisted did the same thing with like their newer CDs, where like every song is a different style of music. Cottonmouth Kings has done it with some of their albums, where like every it goes back and forth between like five different genres in the same album. It's bands like that. I always like bands like that, so I can't complain. It was definitely
yeah.
a good
I,
experience. But I'm kind of dying to hear Chancy's opinion. I'm kind of dying because I know he's gonna have opinions.
Uh, I actually quite liked it. Uh, I mean, there was I have two honorable mentions on my list, which we'll get to, but those two specific honorable mentions were there because of their uh, change in demographic, so to speak.
yeah.
I I'm a huge fan of EDM. I'm a huge fan of metal. I'm a huge fan of melodic singing, dissonant
Hmm.
chords,
Yeah.
and from jump, it's just kind of like a just straight out because that I mean, just while I always listen to the albums at least a couple times while I like the first time I'll play video games just to kind of just take it in. And when I did that, I was just like, as soon as the first song started playing and I entered it into the PvP rally or the PvP lobby, I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And then it just went from there. And it covers the spectrum. I mean, like you were saying, it's got EDM, it's got metal, it's got dissonant chords, melodic singing,
Yeah.
very it's good stuff. I was pretty stoked about it.
Yeah. I love
Yeah, I mean,
I
yeah,
love this record because I like how the intro is sort of the EDM, sort of the dun 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 type of thing, and then it just it lightly fades out, and then it's like da-da, 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 with the drums comes in, and it just they do that on a lot of their records where they'll start with like the EDM rave type of thing, and then they'll crash in with the fucking singer and the drums, and it's such a contrast in styles. But it works so well for them. They're so good at it. And of course, you have You have Hayuku, who he's the guy that he does the backing vocals, but he also does all the EDM shit, and he's such a great compliment to Ro, the singer. While Ro is screaming, Hayuku is kind of like, does a little bit of melodic, and then they'll switch back and forth where Ro will sing melodically and Haruku will fucking come in with like the screaming vocals, and it works so well for them, man. Um, like I said, they're even better live than that record. I'll tell you that right now. If you ever get a chance to see them live, they're about 4 times more intense live than they are on the record, man. They're unbelievably insane live.
I can kind of sense that. So I mean, definitely, definitely an interesting band. I mean, definitely to look into them a little more. But what were your top 5, CJ, for your album? Because
So number one for me, well, let me start at number 5. Number 5, I know it's got all the weird symbols in it and all of that, but essentially it is Dummy System. Is my number 5. My number 4 is probably one of Chancy's honorable mentions, but it's the song Night Waves, because that's the song. It really, they kind of just go completely off the script with that song. That's really the first time they've done like a slower, sort of mellower song like that. Um, so when I heard that one, I was like, okay, I like this. Like, this is just completely off the page for them. Like, they never, none of their other records had any songs like that. Um, so I was like, hey, if this is the direction they choose to go, I kind of dig the little synthwave type of, you know, thing that had.
Right.
My Own Salvation is my number 3. I like that one just because it's sort of what they're like live the most. It's just a balls out fucking song. Um, my number 2 is Godspeed. Um, Wargasm is a great group.
mm-hmm.
A chord, but putting the two of them together with the drum and bass and then the fucking metalcore EDM it's really a bombastic song. And my favorite is Warriors, because Sim is another Japanese band. They're they're sort of the Japanese version of
Limp Bizkit.
no God damn it, I can't think of their name.
Linkin
The one
Park.
the one that has Benji Webb as the singer. They do the reggae metal. Um,
Oh, oh, fuck. I know that one. Can't think of his fucking name though.
hold
Uh oh, god damn it. I had a name and I forgot it.
on. Skindred. They're sort of like
Skindred. Yes.
Yep.
Sim is essentially the Japanese version of Skindred. Um, and Ro and Raul, who is the singer of Sim, they do a lot of stuff together. They're Ro is married to Raul's sister, um, so they work together a lot, and I always love when Sim and Crossfaith do stuff together, because you don't know whether you're going to get like what Warriors was, or whether you're going to get the more reggae oriented stuff like what Sim does, or something in between. Um, so that was my favorite one, because, again, just a great song, really melodic, but it's still very bombastic. And, um, I think it's a great example of how diverse Crossfaith is, and being able to be completely bombastic, but also be melodic, and have the bouncy beat and all of that. So um, that's my top 5 for this one.
Well, on this one, I had one honorable mention, but and that was My Own Salvation, because it was a phenomenal song, and the guitar actually reminded me of Slipknot a little bit. so I kind of dug the guitar in it a lot. I forget the exact song, but there was actually like a Slipknot song that was playing in my head when I was just hearing the guitar play. Like it's, I think it's a great chapter. I can't think of it right now. But my number 5 was Headshot because that song was like I liked the energy in it. It was fucking awesome. Number 4 was Zero because Zero. I mean that song was, it was pretty good. I mean I could have. I hated that one song you mentioned. That one song you mentioned, the slow one.
Oh, Night Waves.
Night Waves.
Yeah, I fucking hated that song. I was like, when the fuck is this over? But that was the thing about this album. The first like half of it I fucking loved. The second half of it I kind of was like waning on a lot. Like it was kind of like one of those like get me up and then let me down type things. But my number
Yeah,
2, actually, the
they
exception to the
definitely
rule.
experimented a lot more with this one than the other one.
And I mean, my number 3 was Warriors because I want to look more into Sim because they actually kind of the rap verse they had in it was pretty fucking incredible. So I'm like, I kind of want to look more into them. And actually, I was looking up Sim to read more about them, and I guess they actually said like Limp Bizkit was one of their influences.
Yeah, yeah, they're
So
big into like
that's what.
Skindred, Limp Bizkit, that type of sound. Um, they're very much like Skindred. If you like Skindred, you'll love Sim. It's really the closest thing to compare them to. So, yeah, they do have that Limp Bizkity new metal, rap
But
metal, reggae metal type sound.
my number 2 was kind of my exception to the rule about the last half of the CD, and my number 2 was Cannabis because that was a bomb ass song. The lyrics, the freaking guitar in it was incredible. Like I dug that song completely. My number 1 though was easy to pick, really freaking easy to pick because it's fucking Godspeed because I love Wargasm. I've been into Wargasm for a while. I love Wargasm. I mean, and plus their career has been so fucking crazy. Like the fucking incident in the freaking club or arena in freaking Europe. Like what the fuck? Like God, Wargasm's incredible, and with the two of these bands together, it was an amazing combination. And I'm pretty sure
And what's funny,
Wargasm's done shit with bands I like too.
yeah, and it's funny. I didn't know. I didn't know anything about Wargasm UK before this record. Wargasm to me was the death metal band from Philly. So when I saw Wargasm, I was like, "Oh shit!"
Same, same.
They're like,
I mean,
I was
I
like,
knew,
wait,
I
they're
knew.
doing it with like the death metal Wargasm. I was like, "Fuck yeah, that's gonna be fucking killer!" And then I looked it up and was like, "The fuck is this?"
No,
I'm like,
I knew who they were because I mean the European metal scene is like my shit. But
I thought they
I
looked
knew who
like
they.
Die Antwoord, and I was like, God, if they do like some bullshit like Die Antwoord, I'm gonna be so pissed off. And then I heard this song, and was like, all right, this is fucking cool. I could get into it. And then I looked up Orgasm's music, and I was like, I can get behind this. This is cool. And drum
I
and
mean,
bass
yeah.
with a little bit of.
I honestly thought the same thing when I saw the track list. I saw Wargasm. I thought the same thing. I was like, the metal band, and I was like, really? And and then like as soon as I heard it, I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't the metal band. I'm like, this is the other one. And I looked into it. I was like, oh yeah, it is them. Like fuck, they've done shit with. I want to say they did something with Powerwolf a while back, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong. They did some shit with some band I love.
Yeah, they've done a few songs with metal-ish bands from Europe, but um,
Yeah.
you know, it's cool. I mean, like I said, not something I would listen to every day as far as Wargasm with the drum and bass, but it was cooler. I mean, it was cooler than I expected because, like I said, when I saw the picture, my first thought was they looked like Die Antwoord, and I
Mm.
have tried to get into Die Antwoord, and they're just one of them bands that are just a little too weird
Yeah,
for me. Um,
I get
you
it.
know, I don't relate to them, so I'm like, okay, yeah, we'll leave them over there for the people that are into them. They're kind of in that same category as like Suicide Boys. Suicide Boys is another one that
I
I listen
I
to
was
them,
just
and they're not
talking to someone
horrible.
about that last night.
They're not horrible, but it's just not my thing, and I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
okay, you stay over there in your own little thing, and you know. We won't.
No,
We won't say
actually,
anything good
CJ,
or anything bad. We'll just let you do your own little thing. So,
CJ, you would love this because I was doing a improv podcast I guest on all the time last night, and we were doing a song of the South for the movie for the episode, and they brought on this guest I never met before, and he's like, that's what he starts talking about. It's like Suicide Boys, and like it went to like ICP and Juggalo Community and everything else, and just became like a huge fucking like half-hour discussion on rap. But I was like, fuck, that's random as shit that you bring up Suicide Boys tonight too. That's 2 nights in a row.
yeah, I mean, I hear the Suicide Boys, and the only thing I think when I hear Suicide Boys is it's Ghost Main without any of the talent or power.
Hmm.
Like that's what it
I agree.
reminds me of. Like they want to be Ghost Main, but they don't have that fire in the fucking belly that Ghost Main has, man. That like Ghost Main just fucking leans into it and goes. And Suicide Boys kind of are like they're sort of like the Post Malone of Ghost Main.
Yeah,
So,
I'm not the biggest fan of Suicide Boys, but
but yeah,
well,
that's cool.
Chancy, what were your top five?
So the two honorable mentions were Afterglow and Night Waves because of the change in tempo, change in style, and I thought that it was I liked how it like you were saying synth pop, synth metal. It had all the proper elements, covered the whole spectrum. And then for number 5, it was My Own Salvation. Number 4 was Zero. Number 3 was The Final Call. Number 2 was Dummy System. And number 1 was Headshot.
Nice.
Yeah, I couldn't get into Dummy System. I tried that song a couple times 'cause I kept feeling like I was missing something, but I just couldn't get into it. I tried. I really tried because I mean, usually when songs are titles like that, I'm like, okay, there's gotta be something good here, but just didn't click. Didn't click quite.
It's
But
it's kind of a thing with Japanese metal bands. If you never really listened to a lot of them, um, it's sort of their thing to um, leave you saying what the fuck. Um, Maximum the Hormone has not recorded new music in 9 years, and they just released songs, two new songs, and um, even after 9 years of doing absolutely nothing, I watched the video, and I got to the end of the video, and I'm just like, "Fuck, did I just watch? Like, what in the?" And I went back and watched it again. It's the same reaction the second time, like just fucking the tempo changes are all over the place. One section is reggae and one function is like one part is hardcore. And then the female drummer comes in and she's doing like this J-pop, like da 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 da. Da, 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 da. And she's singing this like sort of Japanese karaoke style, and then the fucking brother comes back in with the fucking screaming part. Then it drops off into this dun, 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 like fucking flea type bass solo, and you're just sitting there like, fuck is going on here? Like, what the fuck kind of drugs are you guys on? But then at the end, you're kind of like, it's like a train wreck, like you see it and you're like, I missed something. I got to go back and look again to make sure I didn't miss something. So, um, that's why I love Maximum the Hormone because they're the one band of all the bands in the world that you just never know what the fuck you're gonna get. Like, um, and for an American comparison, Chancy will get this one. Um, the only American band who's similar would be Mr. Bungle. They
mm,
sort of imitate
yeah,
Mr. Bungle of just Mike Patton basically doing whatever the fuck Patton wants to do, and that's the way Maximum the Hormone is just you don't know if you're getting reggae, jazz, metal, synthwave, EDM. You know what the fuck you're gonna get. It's just you just know it's gonna be whatever the fuck Mike Patton wants to do. So that's the way they operate, sort of the same way. Um,
Makes
but
sense. I mean, and
yeah,
honestly, for an American version of that, I would almost say Dog Fashion Disco in a way.
yeah, maybe
I
But
mean, I would
more
agree to.
unconventional.
Yeah, I was gonna say if he's describing it more like Bungle, then it would be more unhinged.
So, have you ever heard him, Chancy, Maximum the Hormone?
I've heard of them, but I have not. I've not. I can't. I couldn't tell you 3 songs if you paid me.
Have you ever heard or have you ever seen the Death Note anime series?
Yeah, yeah.
They do the theme song for Death Note.
Oh,
So
nice
yeah, so that's
for
Maximum
sure.
the Hormone, basically. Um, but they're much more extreme than just that. That's what they're kind of known for, but there's other animes they've done as well. Um,
Right.
but they're one of them bands that sort of, everybody sings, everybody plays an instrument, and it's just fucking chaos, basically. Like, sort of like the anime, it's just fucking organized chaos, basically. And um, even in real life, they do really over the top shit. Like, they'll just show up at a school and be like, "Hey, we want to perform a concert for the kids." So they'll go in the classroom and set up their shit, and the kids will be in the fucking classroom sitting at their desk, just like fucking banging away, and they're at the front of the class just fucking doing their thing, and the kids are just, you know, they're sitting at their desk all proper, like this, but they're just like going crazy in the proper Japanese way. Um, so
hmm
they're just that one of them bands where they're so unpredictable, and that's why I compare them to Mr. Bungle because Mike Patton has always been that way of just being, you know, the one guy that was, whether it was Mr. Bungle, whether it was Tomahawk, whether it was Faith No More, you just never really know what that guy's gonna do next. um, so
well, I guess that means, speaking of unpredictable, time to go to my pick. And I mean, like I said, I listened to this band that you brought, Crossfaith, to kind of get a feel for what I wanted to bring, and I was a little torn at first on what to bring, but I was like, you know what? I've been getting into new different bands now for various reasons, but I'm like, I have a band I've been waiting to bring for a while now, but I wanted someone who would actually appreciate it and like give it a fucking chance because he's a metalhead. And I'm like, all right. And I'm like, I know Chancy's a fan of gimmick bands, so I'm like, I already brought one band on here that I learned about from them doing a Powerwolf cover. And this is another band that did a Powerwolf cover. They did Werewolves of Armenia on one of their compilation CDs. And
okay,
so I already brought Kiss and Dynamite on with as the last band like that, but I
and
had to
how's it?
bring up, oh, they're fucking amazing. And, but
Yeah,
I
Kiss
had to
and
bring,
Dynamite is fucking crazy good.
oh, they are. But I mean, I'm like, I had to bring something that never has been brought to this show before by anybody, or including myself. And I'm like, I'm bringing fucking Windrose. Because what's better than a band that literally goes on stage dressed as dwarfs, like from Lord of the Rings, and fucking sing songs about dwarf lore? I mean, that's fucking incredible. I love a good gimmick band. I mean, so I'm like, let's go with these guys that like to wear dwarf costumes and fucking put dirt on their faces. Let's go with Windrose, and I had to bring Wintersaga because it's got their most popular song on it and their funniest song. So like, I had to bring Wintersaga. But Chancy, you had something to
I'll,
say before I continued?
I'll see your dwarf band, and I'll raise you a band of Ned Flanderses. All
I
right.
I've heard your Ned Flanders band.
I know. I've brought Oakley Dokley on the show, but what I'm saying is you were like, what's better than a band full of dwarves dressing up doing folklore songs? A fucking song of Ned Flanders's singing heavy metal songs about being a Flanders. That's fucking
Oh, trust me, I wish Oakley Dokley would release more albums than just the two they've done. But
that.
I
I don't think they're a thing anymore. I think they've been on hiatus for a little while now.
they have been for a long time from what I've seen. But I with Windrose, I mean, at first, I mean, the first time I listened to their albums in chronological order when I first got into them, and just from the opening first song on the first CD, it was just like this is something different and a little bit special. Like it's fucking classic Italian power metal fucking sound. Like it's the freaking guitar and bass are always on point. The drums are on point, and the fucking singer is a really good operatically trained singer in ways. I mean, in certain, not on this album too much, but in other albums, he really gets his voice up there a little bit, and it's fucking impressive. But I this album is kind of like the album that everybody loves. I sent you both a video of the one song from this album at a concert they did, and just like I would die to go to one of their concerts. Right now, they're fucking touring Europe with Powerwolf. I would die to go to that concert. Like that's incredible. But because I mean, it's funny. Powerwolf has been touring with all the same bands that lately they do covers of their songs. But and I honestly would love to hear Windrose do Powerwolf's song live. It'd be fucking incredible. But I mean, I like the guy's voice. I like the music, and I'm like, fuck it, I gotta bring this shit because I've been waiting to give Chancy a chance to hear this, and he loves a good gimmick band just like I do. So, but after a post I saw on Facebook this morning, I was kind of dying to hear CJ Plain's take on Windrose.
So, yeah, I was supposed to have saw these guys live last year at Pride Power. Last minute visa problems, they didn't play. I've heard their name a ton of times. I've never paid any attention to them, essentially because I knew what their gimmick was. Uh, I am not a Lord of the Rings fan, so I was kind of like, yeah. And then I like looked up the one song. It wasn't on this record, it was an earlier one, and was just immediately like, Jesus Christ, this is fucking horrible. Like, this is the worst gimmick I've ever fucking seen. Like, this is like Ailstorm on steroids, okay? Like, this is like fucking Jesus Christ. This is gonna be horrible. But I did listen to the record, and I thought, okay, lyrically, they're terrible, but musically, not as bad as I expected, and actually musically had some fairly decent tunes, and instead of Ailstorm, they reminded me a bit more of like Corpaclani or you know more bands like that, the folk metal type of bands, and a little bit of Nightwish and a little bit of some other
Mm-hmm.
bands that are escaping my brain at the
uh,
time. But
I mean,
um,
yeah, they're very reminiscent of all the
singer,
European symphonic bands. I mean, Nightwish, Avantasia, they're
yeah,
all like similar to all that.
their singer's good. Like I said, musically very competent. Um,
Their singer fucking
so
looks like me. That's the part that creeps me out. Their singer looks like me.
yeah, like as far as the lyrics and the gimmick itself, they definitely get like a negative 100 from me. But um,
This is
I,
not the best album for their lyrics. I'm telling you that much right now.
I mean, I listened to some of the other ones as well, just to kind of get a feel. And music, they saved themselves musically on the musical side from the other side. So I'm not a fan of gimmick bands all that much, um, depending on what the gimmick is. Like I don't care for bands like Guar or this. I like gimmick bands like Psycho Stick or whatever that kind of have that twisted sense of humor, and that's their gimmick, is just being stupid and goofy. Um, Bands
Band
like
of
this, and Storm or
Band of
Glory
Angry
Hammer
Squirrel.
is another one
What do
that
you think of Band of Angry Squirrels?
I have
Or
never heard them.
what the or Chance? Am I getting the name wrong?
Uh,
It was your fucking band.
that's why I gotta look it up. All right, give me a minute.
Or Circus of Dead Squirrels, something like that.
I believe it's the Circus of Dead Squirrels. Yeah, it's the Circus of Dead Squirrels.
Yeah, I've never heard them, so
Yeah, give them a shot. You might like that. It's
yeah.
more. It's still kind of a gimmicky thing, but it's more metal. Like it's pretty fun. I enjoyed it anyway. I kind of came across it out of nowhere, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm bringing that on.
I mean,
Yeah,
sometimes you find weird stuff. Like there's an Italian band about, I think it was about 10 years ago, and when I saw the name, I was like, this is gonna be the worst fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. They sent me their record, is what it was, and the name of the band was Vampires on Tomato Juice.
oh, I've heard of him.
I was like, oh, this is. I know just from the fucking name, this is gonna be fucking horrible. And essentially, what it was an Italian band that it was essentially System of a Down with a vampire gimmick. It was System of a Down doing Dracula. And after I listened to him, I was kind of like, okay, this is actually kind of fucking catchy because they were telling the Dracula story, but instead of doing it in a power metal way or an operatic way or a goth way like would normally be done, they were doing it like System of a Down, and it was just chaotic and it was all over the fucking place. And I was like, that's actually very different and kind of cool that it made more sense to me because yeah, Dracula's supposed to be goth, but when you really think about the Dracula book of how chaotic it is and how all these different things are going on, it made more sense for the music to be like System of a Down, where it had these giant peaks and the guitars all over the place and the da 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 type of sound, and they did really well. So I was like, all right, this was a band that they need a new name because obviously Vampires on Tomato Juice is not it. But
I actually I like the ironicness of that name. I really do. I mean,
I
it's
mean,
kind
it
of
was like
catchy.
I said, the name was dumber than fuck. I thought they were going to be dumber than fuck, but I actually ended up really
Hmm.
liking the record, and I still listen to it on occasion, and was kind of like, okay, you know what? Sometimes you have to look past, and much like this, not a fan of the gimmick lyrically. It's yeah, but you know, very competent musicians, very competent songwriters, very competent as far as the production and the composition of the songs, the hooks and the instruments they use as far as using, accordions and violins and other, you know, non-traditional instruments. Um, so it did have that very sort of authentic medieval folksy type of sound. So I will
Honestly,
give you.
honestly, I've been watching The Witcher. I finally got into it, and like all I'm thinking the
Yeah,
whole time listening to this album is, it's like a fucking bard singing. It's like a fucking bard singing. Toss a
it
coin
would
to
fit.
your Witcher.
I mean, I very much
Like
see where they get yeah, obviously Lord of the Rings, but it would also fit with The Witcher or um,
it, it's
almost
pure
even
fit.
like a Highlander type of thing. I mean, I could almost see it
Yeah,
maybe doing something for like the new Highlander movie or something along that lines. I don't think
it's
we're
a
already
very
going Highlander, but I'm sure you could stick one in there somewhere. I mean, he is a fucking immortal that's been around for 800 years. So, I mean, you know, I'm sure you could stick Peter Dinklage in there to be a fucking dwarf of some kind.
I mean, and like a lot of their stuff is about Lord of the Rings. I mean, the one song on this album, There and Back Again, is straight up a quote, a fucking name of Lord of the Rings, the book that fucking Bilbo Baggins wrote in Lord of the Rings. There and Back Again. Like it's
I don't, I mean, I'm not a fan of Lord of the Rings. I will admit I am a huge fan of the Aragon series, so I'm not completely against like that
mhm.
genre.
Oh, I
But
love the
Lord of
Inheritance
the Rings
Cycle. I fucking love the Inheritance Cycle.
yeah, like I Lord of the Rings is just something that it's sort of played out for me. Like they've beat it.
I
It's
get
like
it.
beating a dead horse.
Oh,
And
I get it.
it's like, okay, Tolkien did this, and now you're just pulling shit out of your ass now. It's same with like Game of Thrones, you know, like R. Martin has written these books, and now you're House of the Dragon and Winter Comes and all this. Like, dude, you're just creating shit for the sake of fucking bullshit now. And I tried to watch the Amazon Lord of the Rings series, and I made it about 2 episodes, and was just like, yeah,
I haven't had a chance to watch that yet, but
yeah, it,
uh, I mean, there's a reason I haven't been dying to watch it like I would like a Star Wars show or Marvel show, but it's just it is
yeah,
what it
like
is.
it didn't hold my interest at all. But this wasn't
But
bad.
it's
So, like I said, this wasn't this wasn't you know this wasn't half as bad as what I thought it was from the first song that I listened to when I posted on Facebook. So,
uh,
I
I
I I did keep an open mind, and I did, you know, wait to it, even though I thought it was going
yeah,
to be painful.
and
So,
it's funny you mentioned Ailstorm because in our Rolling Stone participant bracket this past week, Ailstorm's Mexico got to the semifinals.
Jesus Christ. Like, yeah, let's write a Pirates of the Caribbean inspired fucking record.
Oh, dude, has like 7 pirate metal records and they're all fucking incredible. I love
I
every
know.
single one of them. I would love to see them live, but
I don't like
uh,
Ailstorm. I do like Visions of Atlantis. I will admit I do like Visions of Atlantis. I'm not, again, completely against pirate metal per se. Just
yeah, uh,
Ailstorm
I
doesn't
like
do it for me. Nor does
I
his
like
side band Glory Hammer. Glory Hammer is
uh,
another one that's fucking completely ridiculous. Like,
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Glory Hammer either, really. But Hailstorm, I don't know. It's fun pirate metal to me. It's all about drinking and having fun, and I'm fucking down for that. But Chancy, I'm dying to hear what you thought of Windrose.
Uh, you know, honestly, CJ covered most of my opinion as far as like musically. It was good. Musically, I quite enjoyed a lot of the musical elements of it, but like I did the same thing with your album as I did with CJ's and pretty much every other album. I was playing video games, listening to the album, and I didn't even realize what the fucking thing was. I'm like, is this another goddamn sea shanty fucking album? And then I restarted the album again, and I was like, oh, it's fucking dwarves. What the fuck? And then, you know, I do enjoy a good gimmick. I do have to disagree with CJ though. I am a huge fan of Guar, but the reason behind it is because of the fact that I honestly I probably would have hated Guar if it wouldn't have been for like the dive that I went on and like all the songs that I found that were basically like different genres of work. The only constant was the get up. So like have you seen me? Their jazz song. It's
yeah.
they're all in their fucking alien garb. Shoot shoot ba doo doo ba doo wah. Fucking it's like what the fuck?
I give Guar a lot of credit in the fact that they were. I won't say they're the inventors of it, but they were definitely one of the 2 or 3 bands that really made the whole, you know, costumes and having that sort of circus type environment. They were the ones who made it what it was. Like they were, there's a lot of bands that came after them that haven't been half as good or half as successful or half as anything. So while I'm not like a massive fan of Guar, I give them a lot of
Right.
credit for being
Oh,
innovators in
they
that
they kicked
style.
they kicked open a door allowing for bands like fucking what the hell's that band? There's a band that from the Gathering a couple times that's they dress up as Transformers. I forget the name of the fucking band, but and there's another. I mean, of course, they opened the door for Lordy to come out and fucking make world look like
Yeah.
crap.
Well,
So
that's what I'm saying. You have Lordy, you have Lordy, you have the Jenna Torturers, you have I mean, there's just literally a whole Slipknot, Mushroom Head. Uh, there's literally lineages of bands that have taken the sort of gimmick of having masks or having characters or having whatever that sort of kind of all go back to the Guar and Kiss tree of the
yeah,
big bombastic over the top show with the smoke and the lights and um I mean if you take the tree up to the top, you have Kiss, Alice Cooper, and Guar were the three that really, blood guts, you know,
Yeah.
head chopping off snakes, that type of just the, you went to see them
theatrics.
not just for the music. Like none of the three, whether it's Alice Cooper, whether it's Kiss, or whether it's Guar, none of them are ever going to be accused of being brilliant musicians. You didn't
Right.
go to see them musically so much as you were Alice Cooper. You were going to see the electric chair. You were going to see the head get chopped off. You were going to see the snakes. You were going to see blood and guts. And like with Gallagher, you didn't go. You didn't go to Gallagher's show to see him fucking tell a joke. No, you wanted to see him smash fucking watermelons on you and shit like that. ICP. You don't go to listen to ICP rap. No, you want to get sprayed with fucking Fago, okay? Like if you go to an ICP
I
show,
go for both reasons, thank you. I go for both reasons.
well then you're fucking retarded. But I mean, you know, but I mean,
Their rap is the catchiest fucking lyrics ever, dude.
mm, I went, I went to the very first. I was at the very first Hollow Wicked show when Twisted was introduced. Um, Now, at the time, they had done this whole lead up of not letting anyone know who Twisted was, who is Twisted, blah,
Mhm.
blah, blah. So in the show, they wheel them out opposite sides of the stage. They're chained on the cart. They've got the Hannibal Lecter mask on. And they come out and they jump off the cart and they start rapping. And they're still wearing the masks. And I'm listening to the voices and I'm like, I know those fucking voices.
Yep.
I know them fucking. How the fuck do I know them voices? And I couldn't place it. And then by the third song, they took the masks off, and I was like, I know where I know it. Fucking House of Crazy. They were,
Yep.
you know,
House of
they weren't
Crazies.
they weren't Mad Rocks and
Monoxide.
Monoxide at House of Crazies, but they were part of House of Crazies, and that's the where I knew the voice was from House of Crazies. They had new gimmick, new name, but again, instantly, even with the mask on, as soon as I heard Madrox's voice, Madrox has got such a unique sounding voice that it was like I know that voice. Where the fuck do I know that voice from? And I couldn't place it. And by the third song, they had done this. They did the song "Season of the Pumpkin." And as soon as they
Yep.
started that song, I was like, fuck, that's fucking House of Crazies. And then after that, I was like, okay, I kept expecting ROC to come out. And they were like, well, ROC is not part of Twisted. And I was like, oh, that kind of sucks. I really like ROC, like he was one of the better parts of House of Crazies.
I am not a ROC fan at all. There's only a couple songs he's done I actually liked.
But anywho, yeah, that's ICP is
But
kind of with me. So um, certain songs I love, certain songs I couldn't give two shits about. But again, I don't go to an ICP show to hear them rap. I want to get sprayed with Fago. I want to see titties. I want to see, you know,
you
I want
don't
to.
see those at regular shows anymore, really.
Well, I'm just saying, I want to see some dumbass try to jump on the stage and, see Rude Boy fucking launch his ass off the fucking stage like a goddamn lawn dart. I go for the circus environment of an ICP show. Like, I want to see what crazy shit is
It's
going to happen.
it's not the same as it used to be anymore. Now it's just more of a regular. I mean, the Faygo and clowns dancing on stage while the lights flicker is about all you get for the old shows. And I mean, of course, they have the big titty women come out in their costumes and stuff. Of course, you have to. But
Yeah, I was at the
yes,
first gathering. I was at the gathering in Peoria when they shut it down and it turned into a complete fucking riot. Um, One of the scariest nights of my life. Um, uh, I was there to witness the little blonde-haired dumbass who thought it was a cute idea to stand in the front row with an M&M shirt on and throw fucking M&Ms at Violent J.
I heard about that.
Yeah, that happened for about 20 seconds until Rude Boy jumped off the stage, snatched him by his neck, and took him out stage and power bombed him into a fucking iron fence, and ended up getting arrested because, he thought, yeah, let's throw fucking M&Ms at Violent J. Like, you realize Violent J's brother is a 6'5", 300-pound Cactus Jack wannabe, right?
And an army vet.
Yeah, so the fucking Rude Boy grabbed him by the fucking throat, just like fucking one hand. It was like, and just walking through the audience holding this scrawny little fucker up. And everybody's just parting at the sea, like, let him pass, let him pass. So he goes outside, and the doors are open to the Civic Center, so you can see from inside where the doors are open. He goes outside, he like drops him in the fucking middle of the doors and picks him up, fucking holds him up, and just runs forward and just boom launches him into this fucking iron fence that's next to the thing, and he hit the fucking fence and just blew the fucking iron rings right off the fucking fence. And I was like, and right about then, security jumped Rude Boy and shit and took him to jail, and it was really kind of comical, but it turned into pure chaos because everything went wrong. Bands were fucking playing late. By the time ICP actually got around to their set, by the second song, the city shut them down. So instead of saying, hey, show's over, everybody go home, they turned off the lights and the sound in a goddamn convention center that had 6,000 juggalos in it.
Bad decision.
Brilliant fucking move. Turn off the lights and sound in an enclosed fucking room with 6,000 juggalos in it. That's gonna work out. Of course it did. They started setting fires. They started tearing shit up. It turned into a complete fucking full-on riot. Next thing I know, fucking the state police were there. The National Guard were there. I didn't think we were going to get out with our lives, honestly. Like, it was pretty fucking scary, because it was this big giant arena with a shit ton of juggalos, and there were no lights. There were no lights on the floor. There were no lights on the stage. It was just a big, dark fucking room with a shit ton of fucking juggalos, And,
Sounds like a recipe for fun.
oh, it was, like, the only thing, like, once they started setting the chairs on fire, you were kind of like, okay, door's not over there. That's a pile of flaming chairs. Let's go this way. Oh, shit. Another pile of flaming chairs. Can't go that way. So eventually you were sort of trying to fucking weave your way through this labyrinth of burning shit that these assholes were setting on fire. And of course...
That's crazy.
Yeah, they were throwing Faygo bottles. They were throwing shoes. They were throwing all kinds of shit. So it was just pure chaos. And that's why none of the gatherings are indoors anymore, essentially. So
I mean,
they did one indoors.
That makes sense.
Yeah, like, but,
Juggalos belong in nature, damn it.
Yeah, okay. But
But
that ironically is also the last gathering I ever went to, because after that I was kind of like, yeah, you know what? I'm good, man. Like,
times have changed. Times have changed. They don't do it. Most juggalos are so old nowadays, they don't do that shit.
Yeah, it's like being trapped in a burning building. Not really a fun experience, man. Like,
Oh, I've heard plenty of stories from old school juggalos about that concert. Yeah,
yeah,
it was scary.
it
But
was fucking terrifying. So, anywho, Windrose.
Chancy, Chancy, did you finish your Windows review or not? I don't know if we interrupted you.
I mean, no, not really. It was basically I was just saying, I agreed with CJ for the most part because of the music saving the overall rest of it. And then, you sent me the video, I watched it, and I was like, okay, well, at least they're kind of not just doing a gimmick in like music videos or whatever. Maybe, I mean,
They commit.
they commit, but at the same time, I still struggle with it because of the fact that it's like this. I guess it's just not so much my cup of tea in regards to like as far as fantasy metal and stuff like that. When it comes to it, like there was times where even I struggled, dealing with like Dio, and
Yeah,
that's as far as like lore and fantasy stuff like that. That's pretty fucking vanilla. But like, I mean, the video for Holy Diver,
yeah.
fucking, I was just like, what in the actual fuck? Like, it almost made me hate the song.
Yeah, I love Dio, phenomenal singer, but he got a little heavy-handed sometimes as well with the whole, especially on on the record Mystica. There was
Yeah,
so much D&D inspired shit on that I was just kind of like, yeah, I still don't think I've ever listened to Mystica more than once or twice. Um, it's just one of them records that was completely unnecessary for his legacy. Basically, was like, what made you think that? And if anybody, in all fairness, if anybody should have ever done a dwarf themed or an elf themed band, it should have been Ronnie James Dio with all 5'3" of his, you know, stature. So,
Or
um,
Danny Phelps, but
right.
yeah, Danny too.
I mean, Chancy always likes to talk about how he has to wear those big ass boots because he's so fucking short. But
I I have to be
I
careful
mean,
what I say. I have to be careful what I say about Danny because one of my very good friends is currently his keyboardist, um, for Cradle of
oh my
Filth.
god, that
Um,
I've seen them live, man. I love fucking Cradle of Filth.
yeah, so I have to be careful for the sake of
Oh,
I don't want Zoe to get like, your friend said such and such and such and such about the band, and
God, no. Danny Phelps is a rock fucking legend. Like I have nothing but respect for him and his band.
yeah,
And Chancy feels the same way. It's just fun to make fun of people's height sometimes.
and again, uh, Cradle of Filth is another band, not somebody I would listen to all of the time,
Oh,
but
I do.
I've got a ton of respect for him and what he does and the aesthetic of what he does. Like, you know, really,
yeah,
really
it's not
good.
easy.
Yeah, like he's
There's
surrounded himself with really great classically trained musicians who are very proficient at what they do. So, uh, kudos to them in
yep.
every
I
aspect of.
oh trust me. I have basically every Cradle of Filth album ever put out on my fucking Spotify liked mix, and if I go on a longer than 20-minute car ride, you better guarantee there's at least one Cradle of Filth song popping up in that fucking random shuffle. So I listen to Cradle of Filth on a daily basis. I fucking love everything about them. They're legendary. But for this CD, I basically just ranked the 8 songs that actually were in the album because there's only 8 songs. I figured, what the fuck? I'm not gonna sit here and try to pick which ones I don't want to put on. And plus, I love pretty much every song on this album to some degree. My first honorable mention was "The Art of War" because it's okay. It's one of the lyrically weakest songs I think in this album, so I only like the music in it, but had to put it on. My second honorable mention was "Diggy Diggy Hole" because I get why it's popular. I get it's a fun like drinking metal song. Like when you're drinking, it's fucking probably fun as shit to like be at a concert drunk to that and like dancing to it. Like it's probably fun as shit. And I love that they bring like like half the audience on stage with fucking pickaxes and shit for it. Like it's just a fun song. But it's just not the best song in the world. I can't listen to it constantly. I honestly do not know why it's their number one song on Spotify. I don't know. I can't explain that. But my number six, or my last one I mentioned, is kind of the same thing. Mine, mine, mine. Like I get it. I like it. I like the music in it. I like the lyrics in it to some degree, but it's just not the greatest song by far. They're kind of going too like a foot over the fucking gimmick at that point. There's like, okay, yeah, like back up a little bit, make it about something a little more special. My number five is where they get serious. Actually, my number five is Wintersaga. Great track to open the fucking album to, and I mean it's just as like the first song on the album, it kind of nails it. It nails it, but it's also not nowhere near the best song on the album. My number four was The King Under the Mountain because that's totally a Lord of the Rings lore song, and it's fucking done great. The lyrics are amazing. Fucking guitar is always incredible on it. Number three was There and Back Again because I mean guitar is amazing in all these, but There and Back Again is one of my favorite songs by them. Actually, it's very Lord of the Rings oriented too, but that's why I fell in love with the band because of all the references. My number two song is my party song, Drunken Dwarfs. That song is fucking hilarious. I love that they make fun of elves in it and that they basically make fun of like every other mythical creature in it. It's fucking hilarious. And I love mead, so you know, a song about drinking mead I can always get down for. It's kind of like to me that's the closest they get to Ailstorm is Drunken Dwarfs. That's like the closest they get to Ailstorm songs. But my number one, which is also the name of a great movie, is We Were Warriors, which because it's such an epic saga song. Like I think it's 8 or 9 minutes long, but it's fucking what a way to end the CD. Fucking beautiful transitions throughout the whole song for the freaking singer, for the guitar player, for the drummer. It's all fucking incredible. We Were Warriors is fucking phenomenal. And plus, I found it ironic that that amazing movie was brought to my attention by Mr. CJ Plane as well. So I kind of felt
What?
like that the
Oh,
movie We Were
oh no, the one you're thinking of is called Once Were Warriors.
One for Warriors, We Were Warriors, same thing basically. But I mean, one word off, one word off.
I just did that movie as part of my mythology project for the hero's journey and made the teacher cry because I had
It's
to
a
do a
fucked up movie.
PowerPoint on it. And one of the videos was the egg scene where she
Oh,
refuses to make the eggs and Jake just basically beats the shit out of her. And the teacher was like, she's like, you warned me that the movie was violent. She's like, but I was completely unprepared for how graphic
oh,
that was. And I was like, I told you it was a brutal fucking movie that really was over the top when it come to, how violent of a person he was. And she was like, you didn't lie. Like he was a son of a bitch of a person. And I was like, yeah, he was like,
oh, he
like
was fucking Jango Fett was a piece of shit in that movie, but he was fucking amazing,
he's
amazingly done movie.
Boba Fett. He's not Jango Fett.
Boba, oh yeah, no, he was Django.
No, he's Boba. I'm almost positive he's Boba Fett, isn't he?
He played. I'm pretty sure he played Django in Attack of the Clones, and then he played Boba on the TV series. Because no, Boba was played by the original actor, wasn't he? If I'm not mistaken. I don't know. Boba Fett hasn't been. I mean, Boba Fett was in a movie since the '70s or '80s, so I mean, I doubt it was him. I,
Morrison
I mean,
is
he's been in a lot of shit, but I mean, I'm
yeah,
pretty
he's
sure
in
he played.
so the Mandalorian, he's Boba.
Yeah, he's Boba on the
Obi-Wan
Mandalorian and
Kenobi,
Boba.
he's a Star Trooper. The Book of Boba Fett, he's Boba. Um,
But look at 2000 in 2002. Wasn't he in Attack of the Clones?
let me go back. 2000 and so in Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, he's Commander Cody.
Oh, actually,
And
that makes sense.
Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Yeah, he's Jango Fett.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, I was right. Yeah, he was. Yeah,
Like,
because
I've
he
never
was.
seen
Well,
I've never seen the Star Wars movie, so I'm
oh,
only going through
dude.
like what I've seen posters for. And
I mean, it makes sense. He was Commander Cody in Episode 3. I didn't even think of that because I mean, the fact that all the clones were based off of Jango Fett's genetic material is
Star Wars Episode 4, The Empire Strikes Back, he's Boba Fett.
what. What? Damn. I mean, he didn't take off his. Oh, he didn't take off his helmet in that movie though, so he must have
No,
just been young as shit underneath the helmet.
I always thought like he was the original Boba Fett that gets
Oh,
thrown into the pit.
uh,
So
okay. He never took off his
that was
helmet in
one
those
of the
movies.
first
So,
things he ever did. That was
all right.
basically kind of how he
I,
made his name is.
I didn't. I also didn't know that. Because I damn. He's that old. I didn't think he was that old.
Oh yeah, he's like 60.
I mean, he'd have to be. That was 80 and 83.
Yeah, he was born in 1960. So
Damn.
he's
Okay, so he was 20 underneath that fucking helmet. Then Jesus, I thought I didn't know it was such a young actor. I assumed it was someone older always. But that's things you learn. Things you learn.
he's been in Barbed Wire with Pamela Anderson and a whole ton of shit, man.
Oh, I know he's
He's
done. I know he's done his shit.
the
But
violent. He's always sort of played the violent thug type of thing, but you know.
yeah. Well, what were your top five for Windrose there, CJ?
I had three, and I'm not sure why I only wrote down three, but uh, for number three, I had Mine, Mine, Mine. For number two, I had Wintersaga because it's kind of an epic song. And number one for me was There and Back Again because it was sort of the thrashy, fast song, and it sort of reminded me more of a almost like a thrash type of band as
Yeah.
opposed to um and those were the songs that kind of got away sort of from the dwarf thing and were just being a metal band. um the songs like, you know, Warriors and Dig 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 were just kind of cheesy to me lyrically to the point where I almost couldn't take them seriously, you know. So um yeah. That's what I had for the top three. Sorry. Um, I don't know if I was making the list and got distracted or what, but I had three songs written down.
Eh, I'll take it. I'll take it. But shit, if I knew you like Kiss and Dynamite so much, I could have brought another one of their CDs. I only brought their first CD on so far. But
Now they just released a new one last week, and
I
it's
know
amazing.
I love them. The fact they're like bringing freaking arena rock back is fucking amazing.
Yeah,
But
they're
but
a great example of carrying on that torch that bands like Scorpions and Bonfire and like whatnot started. So
yeah. And Chancy, what were your top five for Windrose?
So number 5 was Wintersaga. 4 was We Were Warriors. 3 was Mine, Mine, Mine. Number 2 was Drunken Dwarves. And I mean, I only put it there. I only put it there mostly just because I thought it was a literal representation of the paradoxical problem in all of storytelling. Tell me who you are and tell me what you're gonna do, and that's fucking diggy diggy hole. If you were to force this band to be like, okay, tell me who you are and tell me what you're gonna fucking do,
right.
diggy diggy hole, done. But you know, I definitely agree about There and Back Again, kind of taking you out of the whole gimmick element of it into an actual, like, I shouldn't say an actual band, like they're not an actual band, but like
Right.
that kind of an actual construct.
Yeah.
But yeah,
There
that's
it sort of reminded me more of like a Blind Guardian, like an early Blind Guardian type of
Yeah,
stuff.
you get Blind Guardian and what the fuck's the other one I'm thinking of? Ice Earth. Like you get kind of like Blind Guardian, Ice Earth like vibes from them in like a lot of their songs. But I mean, that's who some of their influences were. I'm pretty damn sure because
Right.
they came way after those bands were already long time famous. But I don't know. The music, like you said, the music is the best part. It's honestly the best part about it. I know that, and it's fucking the music's incredible. That's why I love. That's why I can listen to it. I'm not gonna say I fucking don't skip it a lot when it comes on the random list, but it's there. I have to be in a mood. But Chancy, you've been waiting a long time. What seed do you want to bring us?
So when I got a chance to listen to CJ's presentation for the show, I was a little disappointed because I had already brought what I thought would have been like the perfect album to bring to this for, to complement it, so to speak. And that would have been the Electric Callboy album that I brought a couple months back or whatever. But as per the usual, I went to the old list and I hit, shuffle, and a song came up from this particular album that I hadn't heard in quite a while, and it was introduced to me by my friend Gary and my friend Porter. My friend Gary being that guy I brought his album on the show,
Oh,
and
okay.
I was like, I was like, yeah, dude, this is perfect.
Deplorable immaculacy.
Deplorable Immaculacy, yep.
Yeah.
And so it's the band is Opeth, and the album is Deliverance.
Which
It's just fucking. It's a great 6-song set that almost perfectly just seamlessly flows.
yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead, CJ.
I'm not gonna say anything bad because when you sent me the 2 links, I was kind of like, okay, fucking Spotify links. I don't have Spotify, so it opens it up in the browser, and the first one was the Windrose one, and I was kind of like, yeah, okay, And the second one, I was expecting, honestly, when I saw the Windrose, I just sort of thought to myself, okay, Chancey's going to choose something like Ailstorm or, something, another gimmicky type band. So when I opened that one and I saw Opeth, I was like, fuck yeah, love this band, love this fucking record. It's one of my favorite all time records. Saw them like 5 times on this particular tour. Um, actually saw them with another gimmick band. Amon Amarth was the opening band.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then Cradle of Filth was actually the first opening band. So it was Cradle of Filth, Amon Amarth, and Opeth were touring together, and I saw them like 5 times on this tour. So I was all for it. Like when I saw this record, I was like, "Fuck yeah, I fucking love Opeth." Um, I love Michael as a songwriter. So I was 100% in when I saw this. Like, this
Nice.
is a great fucking choice. I may not be in the same genre or the same whatever as what I chose, but um, absolutely cannot go wrong with anything that you know Michael is a part of. So, um, yeah, you know, you had me from go on this one. So,
That's good. That's good. I was hoping it wouldn't just be me that liked it, because the song in particular that came on when I hit random was it's one of the songs on this album that always, just every time I hear it, just from the first note that hits, you're just like, do it, just ready, let's go.
yeah, they're another band that, in reality, you kind of have to see live.
Yeah,
They're very good on record, but Michael is he's such a brilliant musician. He's such a great guitar player, and he really has so much groove that doesn't come out on the studio stuff. And
yeah,
Opus really are they're they're masters of sort of setting a scene, and whether it's this record, whether it's Blackwater Park, whether it's uh, My Heart Your Hearse, whatever,
yeah,
they set they set a mood and really carry through on what it is they do. Um, and even on the stuff like Lamentations, when they sort of do the more almost Pink Floyd sounding stuff, they're still just a really brilliant band of performers and songwriters. Um, so yeah, like I said, I was 100% in with this one. I was like, fuck yeah, I can't. I hadn't listened to this in a really long time actually. Um,
Yeah.
so I was like, oh, yeah, this is a chance to go back and visit an old record that I've listened to a shit ton of times, and um, very thankful that I got to hear it again. And um, you know, um, another.
Well,
Hold on one
go ahead.
second. What? What?
Well, I will say, Chancy, that I've heard the name Opeth in my travels. Never could say I really actually took the time to check Opeth out. It just is a name that came up a lot in my travels. And I could say it since this episode's not going to release till after I already say it on our bracket in a week and a half. But whoever wins the participant's choice bracket will choose the next bracket we're doing. And one of the many brackets I put together in the last couple months is the Rolling Stone Top 100 Metal Songs of All Time. And one of the songs off this album is on that list. So I recently heard the name Opeth when I was putting that bracket together. And I was like, all right. I'm like, I actually think it came up a couple times in different brackets, but all metal related. But I was actually ready. At first, I'm like, oh God, this is another one of those bands where you can't understand shit they're saying. And like, it's partly true for some of their songs. Like, I had to like really read lyrics on some of the parts to actually understand like what he's growling. But I can do that. I did do it for Cradle of Filth for a while until I got used to his voice. But I actually really dug this album. It was a completely different album than the other two, but it was like I can almost tell why it was a classic. Like I almost tell why the album like is considered a classic by most because it's just it was really impressive. Like the guitar work's impressive, the drum work is incredible. The singer's voice I like, but I can do without. I could you could put in another singer and it might sound even better. But it's overall I can understand why. I mean, I don't get why they call themselves the scariest band in the world because you're really not. I've heard a lot scarier bands than that, but I mean, I get with back then when they first started that they can go with that. But I don't know. I enjoyed it though. I enjoyed Opeth overall. It was a damn good album, and I was kind of happy to finally hear it.
Like I
Well,
was saying. Go ahead.
no, go ahead. I was just saying,
I was gonna
well,
say, um, as far as the scariest band in the world, I've never heard them called that, but
On Spotify, it's
yeah.
right what it says in the first line of their bio. It says that they call themselves the scariest band in the world.
you do have to kind of see them live to. There are elements to their live shows that are very horror themed and whatnot. And some of their earlier work, I would think a lot more than this record, but like uh, Your Heart, My Hearse would be much scarier, I guess, thematically than what Deliverance was, um, or even Blackwater Park. Um, you know, so, um, but yeah, amazing live band. Like I was saying while you were gone,
I
definitely
heard
a
it all.
band you have to, definitely a band you have to see live to really get the gist of, because there's a lot of elements of their sound that don't really capture 100% in the studio. Um, there's a heaviness and a sinisterness to the guitars live that don't quite make it through the mix of the
I
record.
I can believe that. I can believe that. I
And
mean, with
also,
the,
I mean, you kind of made your own point as to why you didn't understand the point on that, as far as like not understanding the words that are being said to some extent. Because like even like I agree with CJ that Deliverance may not be one of the better type of albums to kind of encapsulate the horror element, but there are at least 2 or 3 separate sections where he's literally telling a story, and the elements of that story are horrifying to people of a normal sensibility. You know, you may not think of it as being that scary just because you're into fucking Scum and all that other fucking trash garbage, fucking ankle deep in fucking shit and guts, and then
Dude,
fucking it's
Scum is
like, you
a
know,
rap god. Scum is a rap god. He
okay.
actually one of our former guests, Casket the Monster.
I remember. I remember.
He just did
But
his
I
he just had his NEK's had their fucking like basically their version of the Gathering in New Hampshire a couple weeks ago, and they actually had Scum as a second act to them. So they actually got Scum to come to like a fucking backyard thing. Like that's how cool rapper he is. That he comes like fucking fans like backyard rap shows to like perform.
yeah. I just picked it mostly because of the fact that you were talking about, you know, something being scary, and I was thinking about, well, he probably doesn't see it that way because he's so desensitized by the stuff that he listens to, and the first thing I thought of was Scum because it was so bad that it literally made me Mick Foley myself and give myself the fucking mandible claw until I passed the fuck out to get away from it.
And and what's funny is our guest on that show thought that Chancy picked Scum.
I know,
So see,
right?
I thought you would love it. So that's why I was like, it's right up Chancy's alley. But apparently
I
not.
mean, I mean, I could understand why you would think that, but it's just, I mean, it's one of those things that, you know, you don't want to swim in. If you got to walk across it to get somewhere better, like a shitty stream you got to walk through to get to, you know, like the beach or something, or a good picnic spot in the woods where it's, you know, nice out, then yeah, okay, I get it. But like, I'm not trying to fucking, you know, swim in the water in the sewage treatment plant fucking lake. Like, nah, I'm good, bro. Thank you.
See, and that's the funny thing that if CJ actually brought like a rap album like I thought he was going to, I would have totally brought Godfather too, because it just released and I'm dying to listen to it fully. So I would have brought that because I'm pretty sure CJ is a Scum fan to some degree.
I don't think I've ever heard him, to be honest.
Alec,
I don't think
he's the head of. I mean, you heard. I mean, well, okay, I know you heard Dark Half because I brought Dark Half last time you were on the show. Dark Half is
Oh,
one of his. Dark Half is one of his artists. He owns LSP, Lyrical Snuff Productions.
okay.
So I mean, yeah, he's right up there with like fucking ICP and, for lack of a better example, Satanic as like someone who had like a fucking roster of rappers underneath them at some point or another. I mean, they all lost them now, but still, for various circumstances. But well, what were your top 5 for your own album, Chancy?
So actually, I just went ahead and did all 6 because, I mean,
Yeah.
I figured.
it's right. I mean, it's only got 6 tracks, so I figure why not. My number 6 was the For Absent Friends track because I figured, uh, you know, that's kind of a preamble into a different song. If I was gonna go with an only a 5, I would have actually put, you know, For Absent Friends with the song that follows it, and just kind of went with that as a singular kind of a option. But
Yeah.
I was like, nah, fuck it. If it's a track, it's a track. Number 5 was Wreath.
Mhm.
Number 4 was By the Pain I See in Others. Number 3 was A Fair Judgment. So this is where it's tough for me because number 2 and number 1 really are interchangeable, in my opinion. You know, because Masters Apprentices and Deliverance are like fucking the songs that I think of when I think of this album in particular. I mean, like I said, from the moment you hear that first note in Deliverance, it's just on, just straight to it. And yeah, I fucking ultra stoked, not gonna lie. I
Well,
was so glad.
I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna. Yeah, waiting for my turn because I got so much to say about that. But it's actually funny how close ours were though. We were actually like in damn close order. But CJ, dying to hear your top five because I'm dying to hear how if you actually match up with us too.
So again, I'm a huge fan of Opeth, so this one was sort of easy for me. Um, Also, one of my good friends, Chris, I have to give a shout out to him. He has a band in North Carolina called The Reticent, and they are very, very close in style to Opeth. But Chris writes more stuff like the last record. It's called Weebelette. It's about the 7 stages of Alzheimer's. His dad had Alzheimer's. Um, so he wrote a record basically about his dad, more or less. And the new record is going to be after his dad died of the emotions. But anyways, going back to this record, um, I saw him like 6 times on this tour, so I kind of got to see these songs in varying forms through the tour. Some stripped back, some full on. Uh, Couple shows in the club, couple arena shows um, with a bigger system. So number 5 for me was Wreath. Number 4 for me is By the Pain I See in Others. Um,
Nice.
I love that song. Number 3, I did count for Absent Friends as a song. I really liked just the passage. I know it's just a little clip for them because I mean they've literally got some songs. There's one on Blackwater Park that's like 24 minutes long. Um,
Right?
so for Absent Friends at 2.5 minutes, it's really nothing for what Opus does. But it does have that element that showcases that Michael is a much bigger entity than just the harsh vocals or just the thrashy part. Um, on like the record Lamentations, when they go completely stripped back and just acoustic, it's very much like For Absent Friends. Um,
Yeah.
Number 2 is Deliverance. Really love that song. But my favorite
Yeah.
Opus song of all of the songs is A Fair Judgment. Um, there's something about this song, both live and on the record. It just, the way that he effortlessly goes from the menacing growl into sort of the clean vocal and then back into that growl, and the way the
Yeah.
guitars shift in pitch. Um, there's something about A Fair Judgment. It's just, to me, it's such it's such a metal song. Like, if you're
It,
into metal and you had to say what's a great metal song that's dark and heavy but also beautiful and tells a great story, it's A Fair Judgment, man. Like, it's you know this is the type of song that most other bands would build their career around. And to Opeth,
yeah.
it's really just another song, sort of. If you know Opeth, you like, it really isn't better or worse than anything else. But your average band in this genre, this would be their best song by far if they wrote a song like this. Um, so that's my top 5.
And I mean, you're not wrong either.
Yeah, and Master's Apprentice again. You can add that as the number 6 because again, another song that really speaks for itself. I mean, that's why I said you never can go wrong with Opeth. Or even if you want to go in a different direction, Michael did the record with Steven Wilson from Porcupine Tree called Storm Corrosion, another record that's completely fucking brilliant. Michael's just one of them dudes that he's a goddamn samurai, man. Like he picks the guitar up and just he gets in his feels, man, and fucking writes his ass off. There is no doubt this man was born to write records. So yeah.
And you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I mean, and I guess you could throw that short song as my honorable mention if you want me to, because I didn't really put that on. But my number 5 was Wreath, because good opening track, but it wasn't spectacular to me. My number 4 was A Fair Judgment, because that was a damn good song. I enjoyed the shit out of that. I thought it was gonna be higher up, but then I got surprised. My number 3 was By the Pain I See in Others, because what a way to end the album. And fucking like when it comes back after that like 2 minute silence at the end, and it's just like has that like almost I mean like it kind of like makes me think that maybe that's where like Korn got it from, like the way they end their like tracks and like that slow just guitar riff, like that's creepy. So I kind of think maybe that's where Korn learned it from, because I mean that was a damn good way to end it, and the whole fucking song was incredible. I mean, usually songs that are that long, like when Metallica does some songs that are that long, like kind of pisses me off because they're not that good. And I'm just like, I had to sit for 11 minutes to listen to this shit. But for that, I did not mind it at all. Number 2 for me, which number 2 and number 1, same as you, Chancy. They could have been definitely intertwined. But number 2 was Master's Apprentices, because it was a damn good. Like I had Master of Puppet vibes going through my head in a way, but it was a completely different song and it was fucking incredible. And number 1, which is the song they did that's on the Rolling Stone top 100 metal songs of all time list, is Deliverance.
Yeah.
Deliverance, like that's on that fucking bracket, and Deliverance is and a couple others I'm pretty sure, but Deliverance is a damn. I mean, Opeth's on a bunch of. Oh, maybe because it's not. There's other songs he did on other albums that are on another list I have. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
That's why they weren't popping up when I was looking at my Spotify for it, because it's only that song that's.
I'm
on
sure
that one.
Blackwater Park is on there.
It's on something, yeah.
Blackwater Park is 16 minutes of perfection. It's one of the most perfect fucking songs ever written, regardless of genre, man. Like Blackwater Park is it's such a badass fucking song, and it's so dark. The story of where he got the idea for Blackwater Park is such a dark story. But
Oh.
yeah.
I mean, Deliverance was a damn good song. I couldn't get over how good it was, and I mean,
and it's a
this is
brilliant live
definitely
track as well. I mean, it's
which is funny, because all 3 of these bands sound way better on headphones than they do in a car. Which, I mean, for the genres they are, I can kind of understand why, but I don't know. There's very few metal bands that sound good in a car, and I mean, even Cradle of Filth doesn't sound good in a fucking car.
Andrew
I mean,
WK.
Yeah. But yeah, Chancy, overall, I enjoyed Opeth, and I'm glad I finally got fully introduced to them. Because I've known the name for, like I said, I knew the name for years and years. I just never, one of those things I just never really got into too much, because I would never came across it in anything, a movie I liked or anything that really got to hear it. I mean,
right.
But yeah, so
I'll say this: if you want to hear them at their heaviest best, listen to Blackwater Park. If you want to hear them just in a completely different kind of element, if you're at the office or whatever and you need just something kind of cool in the background, Lamentations it's really them almost doing Pink Floyd. Really. Like it's Lamentations is a record they did that's it's stripped back, mostly acoustic, mostly clean vocals, and there's a vibe to that record that is so fucking awesome. It's so different than their other stuff, but Blackwater Park is where, if you ask me, Opeth, define Opeth, it's Blackwater Park, man. Like that was
That
when they hit
yeah,
their, you know,
hit their
so fucking.
stride.
Yeah, and I mean they never really lost the stride, but that was where it all came together and really was just firing on 11 as far as going from the cleats to the dirties and the tempos and the aggressiveness and having the sort of that dark beauty that Cradle of Filth has in some of their stuff. And um yeah, it's to me it's just one of the most flawless metal records that's ever been written and performed. And um I can't wait. There's talk of an anniversary tour for that where they're going to perform the whole thing, and
Really?
I will be fucking front row for that. Like, I don't give a shit where I got to fucking go to see it, whether I got to travel to another city or even fly to fucking England, Sweden, what the fuck ever. If there is an anniversary tour for that where they perform the whole thing, I'm there. I don't care what it costs. I will fucking mortgage the fucking car, house, whatever, you know. But I'm not
Mm.
missing that. Like, um, yeah.
Well, CJ. Well, folks, actually, I guess I should say first, we brought you these albums, three amazing metal albums in their own separate genres. But CJ, where can people find you nowadays? Because honestly, I don't even know what to tell people.
Yeah. YouTube and Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Just look up Music God CJ Plain. I haven't done anything on YouTube recently. I'm doing the school thing full time for media communications, music production. But I do have new equipment coming, and I'm going to have new cameras, and we're going to get back. I have a couple podcasts that I recorded last week, so those are going to come out, and I'm going to start doing the podcasting thing again, full time. So we'll you'll start seeing those, and more music reactions are coming. And um, just Google me, Music God CJ Plain. All my old shit is there, and um, I'm still here. I'm just kind of, you know, trying to be low key, trying to
Taking
stay
applause
out
for the
of the
cause.
election, trying to stay out of the election fray as much as possible, and
Us
just
too. Us too.
counterbalance all the hate and negativity with just trying to be a decent fucking human being. Like I'm so fucking tired of hearing about both of them. Truthfully, like, well, yeah, he's not in it anymore. She's in it now, but either way, I don't give a shit about either one of them. I just, you know, just trying to be positive is all. I mean, I don't have time for the
Yep.
bullshit anymore. I'm too old for it. It's like being back in fucking kindergarten again, and now instead of like when you were in kindergarten when the teacher fucking scolded you and set you to the corner. Now we have fucking camera crews that are there filming it and egging the shit on. Um, it's like I don't know, just a lot of bullshit. But I'm out and about, so
Well, oh, there you go, folks. And where can they find the great Chance the Rapper if they dare?
Well, I mean, TikTok and Instagram is the Red Eye Round Table. X is Red Eye Table, and you know, with Facebook.
And of course, you can
That,
find both your. Oh, I'm sorry, sir.
no, you're good. No, you're good. You're good.
And for both your muses, you can find us on Facebook as the Uncensored, Untamed, and Unapologetic UQ Podcast Collective. You can find us on XX Baby and the Gram as that Juggalo Bastard. You could find us on TikTok as that Juggalo Bastard Podcast. Haven't been active there much in the last year or so, but gotta get back on that eventually. We'll see. And you can, of course, find us on YouTube as Maniacal Music Musings. We'll be back next week with another great guest, and be back in about a week and a half with the final part of the Rolling Stones original Top 500 Songs bracket. And whoever wins this one, as you'll know by the time this releases, will get to pick the next bracket we do. And I guess after that, we'll be doing like a wheel thing, maybe. I don't know. I'll figure it out. We got lots of choices, and a lot of them are a lot of interesting choices, and a lot of common choices, but a lot of interesting choices as well. They're different. So we'll see who the winner picks. It could be me. I got 2 songs that made to the finals this past week, so we'll see who's facing them next in about a week and a half.
Nice.
We want to thank our guest CJ Plain for coming on as always, and always good to have the music god back in the house. And we'll be back, folks, in a week. Have a good one.